Come with us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ghost Chronicles Morning Edition, right here on the net. I am Ron, and told you net, and wherever the hell else would be played. Right. I am Ron Kolick, your host, and with me is the Professor Lou Balassi.
And we were just talking about this before the show. This show shows up places we don't intend it to show up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
some alien race is watching us. Because everybody knows that I'm not from this world.
I read this interesting article about the whole alien thing.
Oh, God.
Actually, it was a core answer. Yeah, and it was, why you shouldn't believe in aliens. And what it did was it took the first radio signals we sent out, and it did an overlay of the galaxy and how far those signals have reached in the, 210 years or however long it's been that since our first radio signal. And it's like, we haven't got very far. We're not sending out signals to people to come visit us.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way, but yeah you're right. Yeah, I know we send out all the stuff. Galaxy Quest is one of my favorite shows.
Oh
yeah, and that's how they got the historical records. Was the TV show from the
well, Contact. You've seen Contact, right?
Yeah, but nothing beats Galaxy Quest.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I haven't watched that in a while. I got to go watch that.
Oh, I watched Rogue One the other day, which is by far the best Star Wars one that you did.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Wait a second, Rogue One.
It's the one that they all get killed.
That's the prequel. They all die at the end.
They all dead. All the great characters in it. They got great characters in it. But
not to spoil it for anybody, but they all die at the end.
Well, if you haven't seen it now, well, too bad. It's a great show anyways.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed they all died at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done sequels with them. Everybody loved them. The freaking robot was awesome. The guy with the blind man with the Force and his buddy there. All that. I mean, it was so many cool characters in that. Yeah, but
by the way, and I don't know if you saw the original, but my son texted me in the middle of last week and said, I want to go see Dune. Let's go. So we went out to the theater to see Dune. It's the first time I've been in the theater since COVID.
Yeah, and
it wasn't bad. I was surprised.
Yeah. My son and I are going, I think this week, in fact.
Are you?
Yeah, he's already seen it, but
I kind of like it.
Go together.
I will
like it, probably.
Yeah. You've seen the original, right?
Of course.
You're going to chuckle at the original after seeing this because this told the story so much better.
Well, you know why?
I have a couple ideas why.
Well, the Dune saga was really a saga. It's a series of books, and it's a whole. I mean, my son's read them all, so he knows the whole deal of it. And what they did is they just compressed that whole thing in that first movie.
Well, that's the story I told my son. I said, I went to see Dune. When I went to see Dune in the theater, they handed out a glossary as you went into the library.
Yes.
And it was a single page printed both sides with terms. And you're in trouble when they're giving you a glossary. Like, what are you supposed to do? Look at it during the movie? And then I watched it. And this
Maybe we should do that for the show. For my Ronisms.
There you go. We should start keeping some. But then I went in and I saw the movie, and this is before cable. This is before on demand. All you had was television. And I came out of the movie going, what the frig just happened? Because it was just a stupid movie.
Oh, I liked it.
I liked it, but the story was not there at all. And so it was for years.
Well, there's a lot of mysticism kind of stuff in it, but
for years, I went to the point where I would make a point to rewatch this movie when it was on TV, just so I could figure out what the frig happened, what the storyline was. And then I was in an antique store and I came across the trilogy in paperback form, and I read the 3 books. I go, oh, that's why the movie sucks. I mean, and I enjoyed the movie because visually it's fun, and and Sting.
Great character. The characters were good. Yeah, Sting and
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is really bothering me about the new movie because I can't stand the new Prince.
Oh, really?
He looks like a snotty little brat. He's like just some little.
You're gonna like him. He's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
The actor's good.
We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so you liked it. That's good.
Yeah.
I am going to go see it, so I will. Don't tell me anything about it, please.
No, I won't.
Not that I don't know.
No. I liked it, and I liked the telling of the story. And
there's going to be another one. So
because the opening credit says Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I knew they weren't taking on all 3 books.
Unlike the Star Trek one, which is Part 1 was really Part 4 and
no, Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to my girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter because I want to watch Star Wars. I goes, which one?
Yeah.
It was the first one. I goes, no, not the first one. You know, and it's just going through that whole thing.
Oh yeah, now you got prequels to the separate series, so you're screwed anyway.
But you will just laugh. And my son hadn't seen the original, and before the movie, I was saying you should watch the original, and after the movie, I said don't watch the original.
I don't know. I like the original. What can I say?
Yeah, no, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
but it's what a difference.
Anyway, before I start anything and forget, because I'm getting older than I usually am, I want to welcome the newest members of the Dead Air Society.
Nice.
Yes, Dead Air Society. That's what we call our people on Patreon who support us on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. And our two newest members is Anne Ryan and Colin Bislin from the UK.
Oh, Colin, welcome.
You know?
No.
You said, oh, Colin. He's like you said, a long-lost friend.
He's a member of the Dead Air Society, so he is a long-lost friend.
He is. And you too can be a member of this Dead Air Society and access to about 30 videos now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve's told me he's got some he wants to put up too, so I've got to deal with that as well.
Yeah, so we're going to be producing a couple new. We produce premium content just for the Patreon people.
Yeah, and we give results of our investigations prior to anybody else. Actually, sometimes you're the only one who hears about it, or at least our thoughts on it.
So next week we're doing a new Patreon video.
Yeah, we're not going to say anything more about it, but yes, we are.
Excellent.
So, anyways, I got a couple things. The first thing, we were talking about this before the show, and a lot of people call themselves experts in the paranormal.
Yeah. And
I was trying to figure out what the hell is an expert? What makes them an expert in the paranormal? So I don't know. I just picked a random one. So here's a guy. This is in Iowa. This guy is psychic paranormal researcher paranormal psychic researcher to Fisk to speak in Benton. To Fisk. I have no clue. Let me read this.
Fisk, F-I-S-K?
Yeah.
As in Carlton?
That's his name. It's Terry Fisk.
Okay, yeah.
But why paranormal researcher to Fisk to speak? This is supposed to be, wow.
Maybe that's his username or something. Is that his username?
No. It's Sentings. This is the, what the hell is this? Benton Today, which is Benton, Iowa, I believe.
Okay.
And this is a newspaper. And this is the headlines. Paranormal / researcher. Wait a minute. Paranormal / psychic researcher to Fisk to speak in Benton, September 15th. Why is that two there? They
Benton, Iowa?
Yeah, right on.
To speak in Benton, Iowa?
It doesn't say that. It says to Fisk to speak. It makes no sense. And this is
maybe Vinton is a place in Fisk, Iowa. Oh no, his last name is Fisk, right?
This is the guy's name is Fisk.
Yeah, okay.
So it says paranormal researcher. You know, it should have been paranormal researcher Fisk to speak in Benton Library. It says paranormal researcher to Fisk to speak. I have no clue what that "to" is for.
Oh, that's bad editing.
Or no editing.
Maybe it's a relative term.
The Benton Library will be hosting paranormal researcher Terry Fisk on something or other from then to then. Fisk will discuss scientific research behind some psychic and paranormal activity, including some haunted places reported in Iowa, and will also address skepticism and other issues. The event is free and open to the public. About Terry Fisk. Terry Fisk is a paranormal investigator for Unexplained Research, LLC, and a noted authority on death and the afterlife.
Noted authority.
Yeah, noted. He is a shamanic Buddhist practitioner.
Shaman?
Shamanic?
Wow, he's just touching all the bases here.
Buddhist practitioner.
Buddhist shaman.
And a member of the Foundation of Shamanic Studies, who studied philosophy and religion in the University of Wisconsin.
I got fired from a job on the radio once for having a shaman on.
Are you kidding me?
No. The wife of the owner had all kinds of religious issues with having a shaman on.
So I guess that makes you an expert on something. Because
he's got an EMF meter, apparently, because he's going to present scientific studies.
And skepticism. But he's Unexplained Research, LLC.
The guy's just trying to make a living.
And shamanic Buddhist practitioner.
Just trying to make a few bucks. Who would go see him if he wasn't an expert?
I suppose. I don't know. It just confuses me. I don't know what an expert is. And I guess...
like I said, relative term, knows more than the average person about the paranormal.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure, why not?
He's just, it's... I don't know. It's just like I said, who would go see a guy who's not an expert?
Does he call himself that, or is the library call him that?
I don't know. Probably a little of both.
Okay, so I had to go my funkin' wagon. I'll see what the friggin' expert is.
Define expert.
Yeah, a person who has a comprehensive and authoritative knowledge of a skill in a particular area.
Well, again, that's a relative term too, isn't it?
It's pretty blank. But authoritative. I'd have to go look up authoritative and comprehensive. But if he's talking about all areas of the paranormal, but his expertise is in, see, I use the word expertise because he has a degree in shamanic studies. Okay. So I would be fine to say he is an
expert in shamanic studies.
Yes, I would. Okay. But how does that make him an expert in the paranormal?
So do you believe experts in the paranormal can exist?
I suppose if you study it, why not?
Well, we talked before the show. Cal Cooper.
Not an expert in the paranormal, no.
No, okay.
In a particular study of the paranormal, I would agree.
Because there's
psychology, yes.
Because there's not enough to know about the paranormal for someone to be an expert?
For instance, if you look at the difference between Cal Cooper and Stephen Parson, okay, to me, Stephen Parson is more an expert of the paranormal, and especially in relating to the ghost phenomena, I would think.
Yeah.
Whereas
Cal's psychologically centered.
He's more interested in the psi center, the psi studies.
Yep.
So he's doing this, but he's also doing that.
Is that psi studies of people who are experiencing paranormal, or of the people, or the paranormal people?
Well, for instance, he's doing the bath thing again.
The bath thing?
Yeah, he floats around in this tank all the time.
Oh, it's not sensory. You're talking about sensory deprivation.
It's like shit out of water,
the bath thing.
Just floats there.
Well, that's an extension. That would be an extension of meditation, wouldn't it?
Well,
and reaching the consciousness.
The idea of it is to try to understand if certain conditions can create certain psychological effects.
Phenomena.
Yeah.
Psychological phenomenon as opposed to paranormal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but go ahead.
All right. So, psychological phenomenon based on sensory deprivation. That makes sense. That would be an interesting study. You take your senses out of this, and what does your consciousness come up with?
Well, there's been plenty of
sure.
Yeah, Gansfeld and also psychomanthium chamber, have dealt with this. There are different things that certainly have.
But doesn't it make sense? I never get a positive reaction to that question. Do you?
Does it make sense?
Doesn't it make sense that if you eliminated your senses, if you turn down the volume on your senses and get them kind of out of the way, that it would be easier for other consciousnesses to communicate with you? In other words, a lot of this stuff is drowned out by light and sound and activity and, just primal survival.
Well, I don't think that. Well, it depends. It's interesting.
Would you be more receptive in a sensory deprivation environment than you would be?
I think in a Cal's case, that's not what he's looking for, and that's not what he's getting.
No, I'm asking the question.
But in the psychomanthium chamber, you are connecting spiritually, that theory is behind it. That's what you do in the psychomancy. It's basically, it's not sensory deprivation, but it's
attenuating focus.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It's not, yeah. It's, okay, whatever.
Yep.
Even a closed thing, you get light, backlight, and all that stuff, whatever. But you're still relying on your senses.
Yeah.
Versus Cal's, who is floating in the tank.
In the tub.
Listening to pink noise.
See, do you just picture turning off the lights in the tub and, and you're in sensory deprivation?
Honest to God, all I think about is just poop floating on the water.
No need to go there.
But it comes in the mind. I can't help it. That's what.
That is something that I'm kind of fascinated
So
by.
he just floats there. So
Yeah.
that's basically what he does.
Something I'm kind of fascinated by, but I do not want. I'm a little leery to experience.
Why?
I don't know if I want to be that alone with my thoughts, alone with my.
Whoa. Here's the boy that likes to take a shower.
What?
You. You're the big guy. It's like, oh, isn't we do my best thinking in the shower? This is where I make my best. Well, that's the difference.
Because if there's something going on, if something's sneaking up on me in the shower,
Oh,
I can
was
still be a
psycho.
You never know.
You know, when we first got married, Jen, when I went to see that movie, she would never take a shower alone for like months after that.
But closed in that, I don't know if I want to be closed in that chamber. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Why?
Because you're closed.
Because it'd be relaxing as hell.
It could be.
Don't you relax in a bathtub? Well, let's suppose it. Do you ever take a bath?
But I'm not closed.
Wait a minute. Do you ever take a bath?
I haven't taken a bath.
Okay, see, that's okay. So
hot tub. Is that the same thing?
I guess.
But you're not
I'm
enclosed.
not a hot tub person, so I don't know.
Yeah,
so
you're not enclosed in that. You're not enclosed in the tub.
You can be in a tub. For instance, my tub is a jacuzzi, but it has a shower door on it. So when I go in, I'm in a chamber basically. When I fill the water up and you stay in, of course, it keeps the heat in there too and everything. So it's great.
Yeah.
And you just like,
but you're not
float there like crap in the water.
There's no feeling like you can't get out.
God, every time I think of Cal, now I'm going to think of that stupid thing.
Yeah, just let that go.
I can't. It's etched in there.
So he deals with the psychology of humans. I talk about the psychology of spirit all the time.
Right.
I always wonder what's going on in the head of the spirits. Like, for example, the basic question, if you could be anywhere in time and space, why would you be hanging out in this house in
I don't know.
House in Situate?
I don't know. What do I care?
Why would you be harassing this person if you can be anywhere in time and space?
Because he can.
Yeah.
Because he can.
Yeah.
Why not? Wouldn't you if you could?
Don't you let go of some of this petty stuff when you're,
Why?
I don't know.
You know,
because you have other options.
No, that's not true, because a lot of the religions and a lot of the shamanics and everything else believe that when you die, you take your personality with you.
That's right.
And if reincarnation and all the thing about coming back, learning lessons, and yada yada yada, all that stuff is. So you have to change before you do. But so when you go, you're a son of a bitch in this world, you're a son of a bitch in the next world.
You're right.
Until you learn.
That's
not my theory. That's the theories. Some of the theories.
It's crudely put, but that's kind of what the Gita talks about in the podcast I'm doing on the Gita.
The Gita.
You bring forward your desires. You bring forward.
I used to play the Gita.
No, that's a different thing.
Oh, is it? Okay,
it's a different thing. Yeah.
I still have it up in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
Old Silvertone.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Electric or acoustic?
Oh yeah, black and white. I have both. My first guitar was a acoustical, and then my second was.
You have an old Silvertone electric?
Oh, yeah.
With the black bar. I mean, with the silver bar.
Yeah. And
pickup.
The silver bar pick and the black with the white pick guard.
Nice.
Which is mostly red now because that's the color of the picks I used to use.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I used to play rhythm in a band back in the day in high school. So figure that.
Same goddamn person.
Figure that was figure that guitar's got to be shitload of years old. Wow, 60s, that's 40s. It's got to be like 60, 70 years old.
Wow.
So ridiculous. No, it can't be 60, 70 because that's at my age.
Yeah.
50 years old. Yeah, 50 years old, right?
Yep.
No, more than that. 50 some odd. Yeah.
All right. So where's the point we strayed from?
I have no clue.
We started at a certain point.
We're experts.
Oh, experts.
Yeah.
So can there be, in your mind, the way you're approaching this, can there be an expert in the paranormal? Or do we just not?
I think
no one can know enough about it.
You can be an expert in a particular field.
A particular field.
I think so.
Ultrasound, we're talking to.
Infrasound.
Infrasound.
Could be an ultrasound, but you'd be working in a hospital.
That's a different deal, yeah. Infrasound. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just yelled at the radio, you know that.
I deserved it.
Yeah, but yeah, you can be an expert if that's your study. I mean, if you devote, but look at it that way. That's why one of the reasons I don't consider myself an expert, because I study all aspects of the paranormal. So I probably don't have enough knowledge in each one of them. So I would, in other words,
what's your strongest field?
What?
What's your strongest field?
Huh?
Area of knowledge.
What makes you think I have any strength?
Well, you're doing this a long time. You're an intelligent guy.
Yeah, but
you talk to a lot of people. You have to have accumulated some knowledge.
Well, speaking about that, I am going to be teaching my paranormal CSI course. Glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
After the first of the year, paranormal CSI, but it's not what you think. It's not ghost hunting 101. So it teaches you how to investigate the paranormal, but not as a ghost hunting 101. It teaches you the mindset, more or less.
Are you
or less and more.
Expert on investigating the paranormal?
I am not an expert on anything.
Really?
I don't think so.
It's being hard.
I'll let somebody call me an expert, but I'm not going to call myself an expert.
I understand.
Because as much as I know, this is much more I can know. For instance, if I go, if I talk about infrasound, I would be just a baby compared to Steve Parsons.
Yep.
So I mean, there are people who are experts. So I'm more of, I'm a student in paranormal. I like that, student.
Can you try to quantify the line for expert? How much do you have to know?
You have to devote great amount of time and devotion to it. It's the way I look at it. And I can't.
Certain specialty.
It has to be a specialty.
Yeah.
It really does. Because that's an expert.
Yep.
Like I said, I know a lot about the paranormal. I know an awful lot about the paranormal. And I've been studying it pretty much full time for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So I know a lot about it, but does that make me an expert? No, I don't think so. I think I'm not an expert because I know there are people in certain areas of the paranormal that know more than me.
Well, see, that definition is problematic for me, because no matter how much of an expert a person is, there's likely to be someone else who knows more. Oh, so if your definition is no one can know more than you.
No. Yep, I understand that.
Yeah.
But they can be both experts in the paranormal, even though there may be someone who may know more. Right. They're colleagues. They're on the same level, okay? Or one might be a little,
right?
Might have his extra merit badge rather than his just a regular. So
the fact that there are people who may know more than you, and especially in certain areas, doesn't disqualify you as an expert. Would be my
whatever.
Yeah.
You say potato, I say tomato. I don't know.
Just someone who spends a lot. To me, someone who has done some studying and has drawn some conclusions. Can put together a position.
To me, even where you get your information is important to me. If you're going to call yourself an expert,
sure.
I mean, I'm seriously. You say, okay, okay, I've read all the online stuff.
Yeah,
and we all know that the internet is far from being perfect.
Well, experts know, one of the things that experts know is how to cull information and determine which information is useful and legitimate. They have to look
at it from the different points of view. Yeah. I mean, you have to be an expert. You have to be able to if a subject's came out, to understand different points of view on that particular subject.
Yep.
All right. You just, okay, this is, you might be an expert and believe a certain thing, but you still have to be privy to opposing points of view in the field.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we call, on the baseball side, we call it noise versus news. So that's the way we determine it. Being able to determine what's useful information and what isn't.
So anyways, We just found this new website, YouGov.
YouGov.
It says, I like this one. Many Americans believe ghosts and demons exist. Over half, 54% of Republicans say they believe in demons. Yeah, the Democrats. While the fewer than 37% of the Democrats say the same. Isn't that intriguing?
Wait a second.
What?
Democrats don't believe in demons.
No.
But they demonize everybody.
Yeah, that's beside the point.
To Democrats, everybody's a demon. Everybody who doesn't agree with them totally is a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm just giving this. I'm not going into politics. I'm just giving you what
going
this
into the
says,
politics.
okay?
They don't believe in demons.
Only 37%. More than 1 in 5,
Liars.
22% say demons definitely exist. This is everybody. While slightly more, 24% believes they probably exist.
Mm-hmm.
And this is numbers are similar to when Americans are asked about ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
20% say they definitely exist. 25% they probably exist. So 45%. See, now you and I just talked about, 4 in 10 Americans believe in ghosts and terror. That's 40%. So why are we playing it? I don't, this poll is screwing me up. They just said it was only 20% that believed in ghosts, right? 22% believe in demons, and 24% they probably exist. So only 1 in 5 say that there. But this one here says that's 4 in 10, which is 40% believe. I don't know.
About 4 in 10 U.S. adults say they think ghosts can come back and haunt people at places. Women, 51% are more likely than men, 35%.
Mm.
Interesting.
I think so too. So here's the thing: 54% believe Republicans believe that demons exist. 37% Democrats do not. 50% believe Republicans believe supernatural beings exist. And then I assume this means angels and everything else.
Okay.
And then 41% of Democrats. Ghost is 46. Republican 41 thing. Vampires 14. Nobody believes in vampires. 14 and Republican 8
and yet Dracula actually existed.
And there is a society of thing.
Not that he was necessarily a vampire, but at least he actually existed.
Yeah. Drug. More than 1/3 of Americans.
How do you explain that, by the way?
What?
The difference between Democrats and Republicans. The
It's
Democrats.
easy. It's philosophy.
Okay, expand.
Huh?
Expand on that.
The Republicans are more right, and the Democrats are more left.
Yeah, but how does that translate in ghosts and demons?
It would contribute to religion. I think bulk of the higher percentage of Republicans are religious versus the Democrats.
Right.
They're all heathens. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
A practicing Catholic
yeah,
would believe in demons.
Right.
You're taught demons exist.
Yeah, so that's, a Republican. That's what I'm saying. They're Christian, the far right. They're more to believe in that stuff.
Clear this up. I know we've gone on this a couple of times. Is the Catholic Church okay with ghosts?
What do you mean they okay?
Do they believe ghosts exist?
Of course they do.
Yeah, they have the Holy Ghost, right?
Well, more than that, they have an entire wing in the Vatican devoted to the supernatural and paranormal.
Oh, okay. Because they've
been studying it for hundreds of years.
I understand.
Nobody knows paranormal more than the Catholics do.
Yeah, it's been floated around that Catholics don't believe in ghosts, and I just wanted
to
clear that up.
That's not true. It's also read the Bible.
Yeah,
all you got to do is read the Bible. Mm-hmm. Look at Corinthians 1. It mentions it in Corinthians 1 that how God gave man to be able to discern spirits, to be able to interpret this. It's a whole. I mean, of course, I don't have Corinthians 1 in front of me, but there's a whole list of things that God gave man the ability to do.
All right, so that would make sense here. Would make sense for demons. Would make sense for ghosts. Would make sense for
demons.
Supernatural.
They've been fighting demons for hundreds of years. Yeah. You know that the number one experts in demonology are the Catholic Church.
And supernatural beings would fall in that, as you said, angels, things like that.
Yeah,
that would all fall into that. And
Also.
Nobody believes in vampires because the Catholic Church doesn't teach of them, or Christianity doesn't teach of vampires.
Or maybe we don't know anything about vampires. Or maybe they haven't dealt any with vampires. Maybe they don't exist. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the Catholic Church.
But, well, let's use the Democrats for an example. 37% believe there are demons. Only 8% believe there are vampires.
Yeah, I know.
So vampires have a credibility issue at this point.
I think all the vampires are in Washington. Just saying.
Yeah. It's demons too.
Demons too.
Yeah. All right. So 45% of Americans believe in ghosts.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
What are you, a parrot?
No, I'm trying to couch my answer for this, or frame my answer for this.
Okay, you can do it. You have to, you can be committal, and just because you commit to something doesn't mean you can't change your mind later on.
Yeah.
My life has been that way all the time. So things I originally believed in the paranormal, I didn't believe in the paranormal, have certainly changed over the years. So there's no shame in it. It's learning. That's what it's all about.
This is going to sound like a cop-out.
It is, and it will be, because I expect nothing less than you than going right down the middle of the line, because you've got a reputation to keep, and that's it. Go ahead.
No, I'm not worried about my reputation.
Go ahead.
I have the same belief system in ghosts that I have in God. In other words, I believe God and ghosts exist, but I believe they're different things than we think they are.
Okay.
In other words, I think God is collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think ghosts are collective consciousness too. I think they're a phenomenon. In other words, and I keep going back to all this all the time because it's just easy to do. The woman who talked about smelling her father's pipe tobacco. I believe she did, but it wasn't a separate external event. It was a recreated memory. Mm-hmm. So I believe ghosts exist, but I don't think they're necessarily what we think they are. Sometimes, I don't know. I wanted to say at the beginning, I'm open, and I'm just trying to stay open.
Well, it's not an open. You have to be committal to something. You've got to be leaning one way or the other. Somewhere you're going to lean to. You can't be perfectly open.
Okay. Yeah.
You really can't. I mean, somewhere in your mind, you've leaned one way or the other. It doesn't mean that you're not wide open, but I mean, you're not open to change.
I guess my craving for compelling experience means that I'd lean against it.
Okay.
I would like to get some information that would convince me. So I guess I lean against it.
All the years I've been doing this, and I've seen all kinds of stuff, done all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like so non-committal to my own beliefs.
You're non-committal to your own beliefs?
Yeah, on different subjects. Like you asked me, do ghosts exist? Now, I've seen apparitions, right? But I've always had that doubt in me, so it's so hard for me. And I was like, you talk about being open, and I think that's what you were saying about it, because now that I understand. I mean, I've had this experience, but do I really believe they exist?
But like me, you're unwilling to say either. I'm unwilling to say ghosts don't exist, and I'm unwilling to say ghosts exist.
I think you're right.
I'm unwilling to take either extreme position. I just don't want to do it.
Steve has absolutely the best answer to that, which is, I believe people see ghosts.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said. Yeah.
That's not what you said.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I believe ghosts exist, but they're not what we think we are. And that's essentially saying...
All he's saying is he believes people see ghosts. He doesn't say ghosts exist. He says that people believe they see ghosts.
Yeah.
That's all he's saying.
But they're not what
Oh, he's not saying
we
that
think
either.
they are. Yeah,
no, he's not saying that either. See, you're going farther than that.
Yep.
Okay. You're trying to piggyback off of Stevie. I see that.
We're in the same direction. It's kind of
and I
what
think
I
I am too.
Meant to express.
I've had great experiences. I believe I saw what I believed was full body apparitions. I mean, I'd seen them with my own eyes. And yet deep down inside, I asked myself, were they really there? Did I really see them? Do they really exist? I mean, I've been studying the red light seance for over 8 years now, and I participated.
You've had conversations with spirit.
Conversations, sir. And I report everything that happens during those seances. What happened there really happened. It did not.
Right.
It's not made up. That's what really happened. but you know, deep down inside, I'm always like, did that, you know, was that really a spirit that we talked to? Was it really, you know, somebody who died to talk to, or whatever it was? It's you still have that, and I think that's because of my makeup, and I think you're the same way. What's your name, Lou? Yeah, I think you're the same way too. When I think about it now, and it comes because I always give you crap because you're awful non-committal all the time, but now I totally understand you. See, this is my epiphany moment today.
Well, thank you.
That's all right.
And I'm not saying I'm right. It's just, I don't know. I'm not, we go back to the beginning of this conversation. I'm certainly not an expert on this stuff. There was a beginning? Yeah. I'm certainly not an expert on this stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know. It's the whole energy concept is just interesting to me and how it plays itself out.
I mean, that's the intriguing thing.
What is the difference between before life and after life, or before death and after death? What is that difference? Where does it go? It has to exist in some form. It has to, what happens? Where are you the second or two after you die? Where are you?
You're going to laugh, but I think that's why I'm a Catholic.
Well, sure.
Is because it gives me,
that's why anyone who is a Catholic, except for the people making money off it.
It gives me, it gives me a plan and an understanding of the afterlife where I don't have to think about it.
Yep.
Okay. So it tells me this is it, this is that, that is that. When you die, you go eternal life, then if you be forgiven, yada, yada, yada. But that's all good stuff. You live your life good. And all the tenets of the Catholic Church are excellent for society as well as personal. And that's what it is.
So. I wish I had the exact point and the exact quote, but there is a psychological principle that basically says understanding is bliss for humans.
Yes.
People want to understand, because the unknown is a big fear. So when they understand and there's
I don't fear the unknown.
No. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me make my point and you can cut into it. No, understanding the unknown is fearful for a lot of people.
Yes.
So when they understand, they feel happy because they don't feel threatened because there's less unknown.
That's true.
So a subject that's full of unknown, like death and after death and that type of thing, how a person can be here one second, not be here the next, and we're dealing with grief.
Yep.
There are a ton of unknowns, so we hate that. So we love to put a bow on things. And, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're not. But the Catholic Church, religion in general, this is why religion is so popular. Religion puts a bow on this. It tells you, it gives you the answers.
It does.
And if you can get into that mind space, you feel happier, you feel more secure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, if I didn't believe in a God and the Catholic Church, I wouldn't pray,
Right.
I wouldn't say my morning prayers. I wouldn't go to church. I wouldn't do any of that if I didn't believe in it. And
you wouldn't have an intent. What religion, and I only know Catholic religion because I was raised Catholic,
exactly.
but all religions are the same in some principles, one of which is...
Of course, they're going to argue with that, so let's just...
I understand.
Yeah.
But without what religion gives us as an explanation, what is the purpose?
What is the purpose of life?
Right.
Yeah.
And it gives people an intent.
See, that's the cool thing about it is I don't have to worry what the purpose of life is because I know.
Right.
No, I know what it is. It's like we're here to help each other basically and to move on to a better life. And that makes it really simple. And that's why I accept it. And that's why I love my religion. So there you go. Anyway. I don't know how we got into religion. Let's see, we hit politics, we hit religion. We just nailed everything, didn't we?
No, just talking about the unknown and whether you can be an expert. Is there enough of the paranormal to know that anyone could qualify as an expert? Because regardless of how much study has been done and how much time has been put into it, you can Google search it, you can see the cable TV shows.
I think the general term paranormal is... deceiving. For instance, let me see. I guess you could be an expert in the paranormal with your field in a particular subject.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you were a historian, you could be a historian on 17th century Germany. You would be an expert on it.
Yep.
Because you've devoted a great deal of time and knowledge to that. So, if I would think that if you're, but the paranormal is such a broad term. It covers so much, everything from from what Bigfoot. Yeah. That was Bigfoot. I put
Bigfoot, UFOs
together. Booger.
Yeah. Bigfoot, UFOs, residual, residual hauntings as opposed to active
remote viewing, deja vu. You know, anything that we can't accept as a normal thing is paranormal, because until we have the knowledge to understand it, and we have lots of theories that explain some of this stuff, but we have no proof.
I was just processing my own reactions here, and what you call skepticism, a lot of people call skepticism or cynicism or whatever.
This is a big difference
with me around this is my own quote unquote. It serves the purpose of religion for me. For example, this woman says she smells her father's pipe tobacco. And I
you got to pick up a new analogy, by the way.
I know, but it's simple and it fits some things. But
between the beer in the cave and the pipe tobacco, we're screwed.
It's easy for me to look at her and say, well, memories, smell is a strong part of memories. She remembered her father. The smell came up. You know, you talk Fenway, and I think Italian sausage.
So you're actually creating, is what you're saying,
right? So I'm taking the unknown of that and I'm wrapping it in the bow. I'm saying, okay, I've explained it.
Yeah, but you're creating a physical phenomena.
Yeah. But
which is, by the way, one of the explanations for the paranormal is that we mentally create all these things. We mentally create ghosts. We mentally create Bigfoot.
When you say that, we create them externally or internally?
Externally, because you know that they're always there, but we just, that's two different things. That's awareness and thing. I take that back.
Yeah.
But we actually, one of the theories that we do create it. There are psychological tricks you can do to people to create certain things.
Yeah.
We know that. So
to actually create things, or create it in their mind.
Actually create things.
Explain that to me. Give me an example of that.
For instance, there's a table tipping. There's a table moving, or a table, whatever you want to call it. You can create that. You can have different people and glass swirling the same way. You can actually
Ouija board.
Ouija board. Yeah. So there are different things that can. Yeah. Ouija board's a good example. Dowsing is another one. Yeah. Any of the paranormal things can be created mentally, either consciously or subconsciously.
Yep.
So it may be that we're able, because we are just scratching the surface of our, and that sounds so trite, of our mind.
But I think when I start talking about experiences and putting in my mind an explanation of them, that's what I'm doing. Knowledge is bliss. Understanding is bliss. So I automatically I wrap it in a bow. So it makes sense to me.
We understand it if we understand it, if we really understand it. There's one thing to think we understand it versus if we really understand. There's two different things.
Right.
For instance, sleep paralysis. We talked about that on the Dr. Kim show. And people who experience that believe that there's a ghost or a being or a creature that does that to it. Whereas somebody who understands it more clearly, understands the process, even when they're going through it, you may still have the physical effects of it. You understand it. Yep. So in other words, you're aware of it. You're cognizant of it, versus someone who doesn't, and who just takes it as whatever their little mind can create. So they create that this is what it is.
Right. Because the people who understand the process don't have to deal with the unknown. The people who don't understand the process have to deal with unknown. And then things get weird when you start dealing with unknowns.
Oh, God, does it ever. I mean, the fear, of course, is the greatest of the emotions that fright can do a lot of things, which is scare you to death. Of course, love can too. You can die of a broken heart.
Well, that's fear. It's all fear.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Could be fear.
Fear of having a broken heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're fear-based animals.
Yeah.
Like I said, because the people who aren't good at creating fear, those are the people who get eaten.
And I bet you. Sorry, so
it's human truth.
But we have an analogy. I mean, not an analogy, but we understand that. For instance, I don't know if you were if you've noticed this because you're a little older than you used to be. But for instance, if you were younger and you were came up across a stream and there was some rocks in the stream,
yep,
you would just like run across those rocks.
Yep.
You wouldn't even think twice of it.
Right.
As you get older,
of course,
you become a little less leery. I mean, a little more wary,
right.
leery, and now you're walking a little closer, slower on it, or eventually you don't even go because you're not sure of it.
Right.
That's what our mind does, and we don't have we start thinking about our abilities versus when we're young. That's why kids are reckless because they don't think about their
plus we have examples.
I mean we talk about kids driving and everything else and the youth.
They feel they're immortal. They're 10 feet tall, bulletproof.
I mean, look at that receiver for Las Vegas, right?
Yep.
They had the world by the and 110 miles driving this thing, killed somebody. His career's down the thing. And he didn't think about it.
That's a kid.
Yeah.
As opposed to an adult who understands the consequences of that.
And we look at that this is the guy I really feel really, really bad for. And that's the state trooper, the young kid that just graduated from State Trooper Academy.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
He just graduated, state trooper, just graduated, and he went out with his girlfriend, celebrated, and he drank a little bit too much, and they were driving, and he bent over to kiss her or something like that, and he lost control, hit the medium. Right, didn't get hurt. He wrecked his car. Get out of the car or anything else. Some guy on a motorcycle came by, ran into the car, and got killed.
Oh. So
he lost his job, lost his career, and he got up for I mean, that was an error in judgment. And I think because of his immaturity, where you think you can do a lot more. I mean, you know that yourself. I don't know. You still drink as much as you used to drink?
As I used to drink?
Yeah. No. I think we all go over that. We realize that we have.
Well, I mean, limits. Times change, but when I was, in the 70s and early 80s, I drove a lot of times when I probably wouldn't now.
Yeah, exactly.
And shouldn't have.
God, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was different in the 70s, right?
Oh, yeah. Just look at the cars.
We were talking about in the affection connection, just going to hockey, going to play men's league hockey. Probably never should have driven home from men's league hockey. Yeah. I
got stopped once. Did you hear about that?
You got stopped?
Oh, yeah, in the back. This was, of course, I was older at that time. So it was after a Chowder Cup. And, of course, we were all out drinking.
Yeah.
I think I had a couple. Maybe I only had one. No, I had a couple. And so it was like early in the morning. I was driving home on 495. State trooper pulled up. You were drinking? I says, yeah, I had a couple of drinks, quite a few hours ago. I'm fine. He says, out of the car. Maybe do the whole thing. He says, by the way, you're being filmed. I says, does that mean I'm going to be on Cops? Didn't think that was funny.
He didn't think it was funny. God, I gotta have a sense of humor.
I passed the test though, and he let me go on my merry way, no warning or nothing. So, but it was good. But once again, it probably, if I was younger on that, I would have had more than just 2 drinks, and I probably would have got a ticket or arrested, one or the other.
I was going to try to put a number on it, but there's a dozen or more times when I shouldn't have driven when I was young.
We all do stupid things. We all know that.
I know. And again, the quote unquote morality around it and the thoughts around it are a lot different now than they were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, look at who used to drive those cars with No seatbelts. Well, we had what, the lap belt.
My father driving me around the Galaxy 500 with a bench seat in the front and no seatbelts.
Yeah, the bench seats. Bench seat. Well, yeah. Didn't they have? They ended up with the lap belts, right?
Yeah.
Back.
We didn't wear them.
I forget when they came in. Yeah, but they ended up having. They didn't have the little beepers that told you they weren't plugged in.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, that's all they had back then.
Yeah, but I think that wrapping up stories in a bow is basically my way to find that understanding so that I'm okay with it. I can put that aside. But I love the stories that I can't dismiss that way.
And going back to the paranormal.
And I think we talked about this before the show. This is what gets so frustrating, because when you're dealing with the paranormal and, you know, you Google it or you're online, or you watch cable shows or something, you're getting hundreds of stories and you're just looking at them like, oh, please. I don't want
hundreds of experts, by the way.
Yeah. I don't want all the stupid stories. Give me a good story. Give me something I can't explain. Give me a shared experience. Give me an experience where a lot of people saw, you know.
You know what absolutely kills me is they call it reality TV.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. If you, honest to God, if they had the show and actually ran it for the full time that they were there and doing their whatever their investigation, that would be reality TV. Chopping a show up and putting it together is not reality TV. I'm sorry.
Right.
It isn't. You're creating the effects you want. And so it's
wrapping it up in a bow.
Exactly. But anyway,
I've had
I mean, to each their own. You know, I don't discredit them. And I says, you know, they're definitely, you know, good for them, I guess, is the point of view on it.
Plus, I haven't had a ton of
If it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't have guests on that show.
I haven't had a ton of personal experience either, so that makes it difficult for me.
Yeah.
I've had the one experience I talked about with my father. I had one UFO experience that is legitimate. I mean, to me, in my mind, is legitimate and like, what the frig was that type of thing. But that's it. But
I bet you've had in your life, though, many, and I would say even many experiences. So that's many
that I didn't realize were experiences.
No, that you had, and at the time you said, "Huh," and that was it. You got the old "huh," but you had some weird things, whether it was a deja vu or a you knew something was going to be wrong. Or go ahead.
Let me give you one.
Okay, I'll take it.
And this is funny.
Okay,
this is funny, but it had happened recently.
Yeah.
Where I was just driving along, and for some reason, because my mind is what it is, I had this thought that Dunkin' Donuts should serve little mini pancakes with a dip, like a buttle maple syrup dip.
Did McDonald's do that one time?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Pull into, and it was within a week of that, within days of doing that, I pull into Dunkin' Donuts, and sure enough, there's a poster on it with, you know, they're selling pancakes that you can dip, little mini pancakes that you can dip.
That's funny.
And it's like you
Did
kind of
create that? That was your reality.
You kind of laugh it off, but
I've never seen that, Lou. You sure that existed?
No, because I haven't verified it. But just one of the ones I'm trying to remember which Dunkin' Donuts it was I went to, but one of the ones I go to, it had a sign driving in. And I just remember going, "Huh! I just thought about that the other day."
But yeah, I mean,
but it was weird, the timing of it. It's like all of a sudden it comes up. And
that's what I'm talking about. We had many of these experiences throughout our lives. And I bet you everyone has, not just you, but me, myself and I, for three of us. And also, you know, anybody who's listening to the show, they've had things that they just probably went, "Huh, oh, that's weird," or something like that, and just moved on. You know, we really didn't explore it. We didn't really think about it any more than that. But if you added all those together, I mean, you might be able to have something for a study, basically.
I'd like to. Have you delved into, because we talked about this the other day too, have you delved into the remote viewing studies?
Yes,
that the government.
I spoke with the original. I spoke with a couple gentlemen, Russell Tagg, who was one of the moving forces, and also the other guy who coined the name Stargate. I forget his name too, but.
Oh, do you know how to contact them? We should have them. I want to have them on the show.
Well, most of them are dead.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
Or too big up there that they don't do radio podcasts anymore.
Yeah.
You know, back, you know this, and I know this, back in the day when you were asked to go on a radio show, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because like everybody and his sister has a podcast, and radio is not what it used to be. then yeah.
So what's your takeaway from all the...
I could use some takeaway right now. I'm pretty hungry.
What's your takeaway from your time delving into remote viewing and what the government was involved in, what the military was involved in?
I think it's pretty cool.
And this goes back to World War II, doesn't it?
After World War II.
After World War II.
After World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Stargate was, I believe, in the 60s.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. It's been a while.
And of course, we know Hitler was into the occult.
Yeah.
But what was your impression of Stargate and
from what I
activities?
know, it was interesting results. All they would get, some of the times, would be just coordinates, and they were able to, think. I mean, they were able to pair to, it was a Russian or Chinese installation, and come up with some stuff that was there. And there's a lot of really interesting cases. I have a couple books on it too. One from Russell Tiger and another one.
You have nothing to base this on, I would imagine, but do you believe there's ongoing, that the military is ongoing in these types of things?
I know they defunded it. That I do know.
Yeah.
Well, is it possible? Well, these is the men that steered and goats again.
Well, no, it's just, I mean, you can defund stuff and then it goes.
Yeah. We don't have no clue what the CIA does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They have a budget, but we never know where it goes to.
Yeah. So when you defund something from that standpoint, if it were a program like this in the military,
this was a pretty big program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would defund it for two reasons. It doesn't work, or it works really well.
You're right. But then, so you're thinking more practical application than just research. So the original program was research, and now they've gone to practical application.
Yeah.
But the only problem with
they don't want people knowing that they're involved in, because they don't want to know they have that card.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the Russians dealt with a lot of that stuff too. The Russians dealt with psychic assassins, and it was always one of the theories that what the heck was his name? Brennan. Was it Brennan? The last thing, he was assassinated by a psychic.
Lenin?
No, Brennan.
Who's Brennan?
There's a premier after God, where was he? After Gorbachev, let's see, Gorbachev, Brennan.
He's assassinated by a psychic assassin.
Yeah, psychic assassin. They stopped his heart. That was the idea. You should be able to stop his heart. I mean, there's some research on it, and you can do some search too. But I mean, well, I bet you have. How many times you looked at a penny and try to move the penny, or then this or that, right? Yeah. Try to lift a girl's skirt up.
Well, here we tried.
I would do that.
Here we tried to bend spoons. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was the only one in the room who couldn't bend the spoon.
Yeah. There you go. Oh well. What do you want?
Still have the
Still
have the spoon from that show.
I've been thinking about that.
Roxy bent that show.
Spoon. Excuse me.
That was you?
Excuse me. That was Leslie. Leslie and I did that show.
Yeah, but Roxy was here.
No.
Well, then we've done a couple shows, because I think Roxy brought the spoon, as a matter of fact.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Kind of misremembering.
You want me to go back and find it?
No. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, no. Leslie was the spoon bender with me. We brought that on. That was even before Roxy or after Roxy, one or the other. Mm-hmm. I could look it up because I know the year was around, because we started dealing with this.
I think Leslie was on the show, but I think it was a show with me, you, and Roxy.
No.
Okay. Then I'm misremembering.
Oh, although in your reality it may have been.
In my reality it may have been, yeah.
In mine it wasn't. But that doesn't matter. I could be wrong. I'm not going to say 100% that I was right or wrong. Yeah. As far as I know at this moment, it was just Leslie and myself. But Roxy could have been here. I don't know. Roxy, if you're listening, let us know, because we're screwed.
That was a fascinating, that was compelling to me, because these spoons don't bend easy. That wasn't a trick.
No.
You know, people tend to think of that type of thing as a magic trick, and
we're running out of time.
Yeah, it was not a magic trick.
I mean, the like I said, when I went to do that with Dr. Eng from Circles of Wisdom, I took his class in spoon bending, and I went. I didn't believe in it at all. Of course, that it was just tricks. And I went and sat there, and I did what he said. That was the important thing. Even though, I was critical, I had to go, and you had to believe that whatever he was doing, and you had to do it. And I was able to do all the things that he said. So say what it will. we got to go. So we covered everything on that. We took a shot at everybody and did everything. So
well, we tried to answer the basic question: can you be an expert in the paranormal?
I don't even think we answered that.
We didn't answer it because I don't know if there's an answer to it.
I guess not.
Much like much of the paranormal.
Anyways, we want to thank everyone for listening. We especially want to thank the newest members of our Patreon organization, Colin Bislin and Ann Ryan. And remember, you too can become a member of the Dead Air Society on go to Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon, and you can sign up and get access to exclusive videos and other cool stuff. So thanks a lot for listening. Good night and God bless. Go Patriots.
From ghoulies to ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump in the night. Deliver us, good Lord.